Okay, welcome to, what is this now? Our fifth coffee chat, I think. Now I'm going to lose track, but these have been so inspiring, so energizing, so exciting. I actually look forward to reaching out to all the coaches that we want to have speak on here because I don't know, I just love reaching out to, majority of them are my friends, but for them to share their stories with you because they're all so different. You know, we've had Raina. Oh my God, now I'm forgetting who else we've had. It's been a really long 24 hours, it feels like. I don't even feel awake yet. But when I wrote down Ashley's name, so I did like a little brain dump of, 10 people that I wanted must have people to speak on our coffee chats. And Ashley was one of them, and you guys had requested her too. So I was so thankful that she agreed because, they don't have to. They're busy people too. And so for a little backstory about Ashley, I actually met her at Summit for the first time at one of the Success Club parties or leadership parties. I can't remember which party it was. And I just remember just being like, she's so sweet, so genuine. And then I started to follow her on social and I realized how much true potential that she really had. And it's been interesting. I think that was like 3 years ago or 2 years ago when I had met her. It's been wild for me to sit back and watch her just completely climb to the top. So to give you guys an idea of how amazing Ashley and her team is, and a lot of you know Kate Schultz too. So Kate is one of Ashley's coaches, but Ashley is a superstar diamond. And for those that don't know what that means, she probably has more than 15 diamonds, but she's a 15-star diamond. So that means that she's helped 15 plus people create the rank of diamond in their business. And the highest I've ever hit is 7. So I can only imagine what it's like to double that. So clearly she pours into her team and she loves this business, but she came in at number 17 in the company last year. So freaking impressive. She's been premier, she's been elite, she's a Success Club 10 legend. But I think the part that I love the most about her story is how she is a former teacher. So she came from a teaching background and so did Kate. And so it's just been wild to watch her paint the vision for, what she wanted to achieve in her life and what she worked towards. And I think I relate to Ashley so much because she talks so often about what she didn't want to put up with in her life anymore. So when I messaged Ashley last night to kind of let her know how our coffee chats go, I was telling her, I said, hey, we're on this huge kick right now of stories that stick. And I think it's so important for coaches to hear everyone's story because you're going to start to realize over time that although these coaches are amazing and hardworking and persistent and dedicated, and they become these amazing CEOs and entrepreneurs, they're also just regular people who sink their teeth into this opportunity and run with it. So the more that you start to hear the stories of where they've come from, what they've had to face, it's so important for you to remember that we all, in some way, shape, or form, experience the same climb to success. So I asked Ashley to talk about 2 different shifts too, just to kind of give you guys a little idea of what we're going to be talking about after she shares her story. Is I said, talk about the shift from, you sign up to be a coach. Okay, I want to be successful. What was that shift that had to happen for Ashley to start to see success? And then there's a whole other shift that happens when you go from seeing success to massive success in terms of, achieving the type of accolades that she has now. So there's definitely like some really big shifts that she'll be talking about, I'm sure. So Ashley, I'm going to stop talking and we'd love to hear your story.
Yay. Do you mind if I pin my video just so I can see my face?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Hi guys. Yay. I'm so excited to be here. One thing I just wanted to preface, Colleen talks about how we were at Summit and we met. I was a fangirl. I went up to her and I was so excited to meet her. Colleen was one of the very few coaches that I was following. I would watch her training videos all the time when I was a brand new coach. And so this is really cool, full circle opportunity to be here on your call. She's amazing. Her mindset just speaks into my soul. So yeah, like Colleen said, I was a teacher. I wanted to teach my entire life. I never, ever thought that I was going to do anything else. I was like this poster girl for wanting to teach. I actually was raised with a lot of inconsistencies in my life. At a young age, my parents were divorced. My mom was married 4 times by the time I was 13 years old, and my dad was married 3 times by the time I was 13 years old. And from until I was 13, my entire life was like crazy, 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 lots of inconsistencies. And so with those inconsistencies came a ton of weight gain. I wasn't a chubby girl as a child. I was obese. I was very, very heavy as a child. And I really, my safety blanket, like my comfort zone was in food. We moved almost every single year. We were in new relationship. My mom was in new relationships. I had new brothers and sisters I was living with. I had new parents I was living with. And so my life was just like this. And so in the midst of that craziness, I really relied heavily on food. But also in that craziness, I had my uncle Dickie, who, if you follow me on social media, you've probably seen him. He's my ring bearer in my wedding. He's just the most beautiful human being on the planet. And when my mom was out working those jobs, he's handicapped. He essentially raised me. And when I was younger, he didn't know how to read and write. And I would go to kindergarten or first grade every single day, and I would learn how to read and write. I remember like my handwriting journals, and I'd be handwriting, and I'd bring those things home, and I would reteach him everything that I learned that day. And so that's where that passion for teaching, and more so I fell in love with like literature for children at a very young age. And so I never changed my mind. My whole life I wanted to teach children how to read. And so I spent all of high school, that was my goal. I applied to colleges. That was my goal. And then I got into my undergrad. I'm from Rochester, New York. I went to college in Buffalo, New York. And I got into my undergrad, and I was pursuing elementary education, of course, because I knew I wanted to teach. And my sophomore year of college, undergrad college, Tyler and I, my now fiance, we started dating. He was in Baltimore, and I was in Buffalo at the time, which is about a 7-hour car ride. And we committed to the long distance relationship. So I finished college sophomore, junior, and senior year in college in Buffalo. He was in Baltimore. So we did distance for all of those weekends. And then I made the decision in 2014 to pick up my entire life and move it to Baltimore, where I am today, move it to Baltimore because there were so many teaching jobs. So at 21 years old, I went from being this, I was a big partier in college. I lived with 6 girls. I had 0 responsibilities. I was student teaching, but other than that, like I was just like, figuring out which party I was going to that weekend. To then that May in 2014, I picked up my entire life and I moved it to Baltimore. I moved it into Tyler's parents' basement, who at that time I had only met like 4 or 5 times. So they were like seemingly like strangers to me. I was in a brand new relationship. I was on the hunt for a teaching job because I had just graduated, and I was on the hunt for a school to go to get my master's. So I went from like very few responsibilities to like having a full plate very quickly. And so all of the stars kind of aligned when I got down here. I, was falling more and more in love with Tyler, which is so cheesy. But I got right into my dream master's program. I got my master's to be a reading specialist at Loyola University. I fell right into the first teaching job that I applied to. I got into, and I thought I loved it at first, and everything was perfect. I was in this honeymoon stage. I was 22 years old, but I was waking up in the morning at 4 a.m. and I was driving 1 hour each way to get to work each day. I was waking up in Baltimore and I was driving to DC every day. And then on my way home, if I hit DC traffic, like I was just shit out of luck. And so I started to really hate this commute. And then I would get to work, and I got into a teaching position where there was only 12 teachers in my school. It was a really small school. And this position that I thought I wanted my whole life, right? I was a dreamer. I would like think about my dream classroom. I would think about my dream students, my reading rug, like all of the things. And I got there, guys, and I was surrounded by 12 women who were double my age and who despised the career that I was so excited for. Could you imagine that, having this new blood energy, getting into this new school where they haven't had a new teacher in years, and then and they just wouldn't even talk to me. They wouldn't give me smiles. They like despised their careers. And here I was like, yeah, I want to be the best teacher ever. And so for me, that was a really defeating feeling. And within that defeat, within that commute and all of the craziness, I couldn't even afford to get out of Tyler's parents' basement because it was so expensive to live, and I was commuting, and it was just like this spiral. I went into this mode of, I lost my best attribute, and that was my ability to dream. And I talk about this a lot. Like, I was a dreamer. I was so excited about my future. And then when I got into this career, I just lost that. And in losing that piece of me, I gained a ton of weight. I had lost a lot of weight in college when Tyler and I first started dating. And then I gained a ton of weight. I woke up January 1st, 2015, and it was about 7 months into teaching, and I'm like, something has to change. Like, I can't do this forever. Something has to give. And so, with little knowledge about health and wellness, zero knowledge about nutrition or how to work out, I just found a gym at my midway point from Baltimore to DC. They're about an hour away. I found a gym about 30 minutes from home, and I would wake up every single morning. I would drive 30 minutes to the gym. I would run 3 miles there, shower, and then I would finish my commute to work each day. And so that lasted about 3 weeks. I would say the end of January, like right now, right? It's like people have these huge January goals. I'm going to change my life this year. And that's how I felt. And it was so exciting. That Monday morning, I felt so good. Tuesday morning, like I was to life. But then by like week 3, January 20th, 21st, 22nd started rolling around. I'm like, I can't do this forever. Like, this is unrealistic for me to wake up at 4 a.m. I don't even know what the heck I'm doing at the gym. Not to mention I'm throwing it all away on the weekends because I don't know how to eat. I have zero knowledge, and I have zero money to spend on a nutritionist or a personal trainer, which when people have very little knowledge of how to get healthy and fit, we automatically think we just have to pay for more things, right, in order to make us successful. And it was Tyler's birthday, which funnily enough, Tyler's birthday was yesterday, but it was Tyler's birthday. So 5 years ago to the day, -1, I was laying in bed and I saw this post on Instagram, and it was by this girl that I grew up with. I had no contact with her. I just happened to be following her on Instagram. And it was this before and after photo. And this before and after photo was not anything incredible. It wasn't like a 100-pound weight loss. It was a 21-day before and after photo, but on the left, I looked a lot like her. And on the right, she just had this sense of pride. Like, she had found something that worked for her. And in the moment, I was defeated. I was frustrated. I had thought that I found something that worked for me, but truly it was like trying to fit a puzzle piece into the wrong piece of the puzzle, right? And so I saw this post and I was like, well, if she can, I can too. If Caitlin, she was a nurse, she is a nurse. If Caitlin could show up and get healthy in the same amount, in her living room, in the same amount of time that I was spending driving to the gym, this has got to be something that I can try. And so I reached out to her. She told me it was $160 for the 21-day fix DVD and a bag of Shakeology. I could not commit to that day because I didn't have any money to my name. But the day that I got paid, that next Friday, like a week and a half later, I committed to a 21-day fix challenge pack, not knowing anything that I was getting myself into. But I bought the challenge pack, and right away, and this might sound so cheesy, but my entire business is built off of this statement. I fell in love with the simplicity of our nutrition plan and the sustainability of our workout routine. I was a girl who was 22 years old at 200 pounds in a career that I was frustrated in a new relationship, but felt like crap. And I had no idea how to get healthy and fit. With our nutrition plan and with our programs, they were simple and they were sustainable. It wasn't like this puzzle piece trying to fit in. It was like the opposite. It was, I could build my life around, or I could put this nutrition plan inside of my life versus me trying to fit my life into the nutrition and workout plan. Does that make sense? And so that's how I've built my entire business, is by helping that girl over and over and over again, by helping that one girl who struggled to find success. You look at the top coaches on my team, Kate, Michelle, Cassie, my top coaches, they're that girl who was struggling to build health because they had zero knowledge on how to do that. And so I'm always speaking that over and over again. I just wanted to put that little plug in there. How you got started is a huge resource for you to consistently be sharing on your Instagram, because that's how your girls are going to get started, or your guys are going to get started. So yes, I fell in love. My first, your founding story, I love that. My first 21 days were a blast. Honestly, like I can't remember them so well, but I just remember like feeling so powerful by the end of that 21 days. And it was 2 weeks into my journey that my coach was like, Ash, you should coach. And when I think about that conversation we had when she told me that I should be a coach, it wasn't like, no, I wouldn't be good at that. Like I didn't say I wouldn't be good at that. I didn't say things like, oh, am I going to lose money? I really didn't have any objections. I said to her, heck yeah, like you showed up on social media because you felt awesome. I can do that. Like I can show up on social media in the midst of my crazy schedule just like you did. So I looked at her story and how she treated me and how she got me to say yes. And I said, well, that's doable. If you can, I can too. And so I just decided to start posting on social media. I started sharing my before and after photo. Even though I hadn't lost 50 pounds, I started sharing those progress photos. I started sharing the emotion attached to those progress photos. I started sharing pieces of my story that people could relate to. And in month 1, I helped 3 people get started. And I remember making that $150 and it was 3 people that I knew. It was one of my top coaches today was her, which is so funny that she's still here. My first ever coach I signed is a diamond on my team. But it was people that I knew, but I started showing up and sharing. And I remember getting that first $150 and being like, whoa, that's like paying for my groceries in a week. Like that is incredible that I'm showing up and I get to share this with other people. And I get to help the other Ashes of the world who are struggling financially like me to be able to, answer this prayer for them. And so all of the reasons I said yes and the way I was starting to feel at the beginning, I started to share those things with the girls, right? With the girls who were following me. And so my business, honestly, guys, has just been built like that. My business is just built off of that feeling every single day of wanting to share with other women how I felt, helping them build a solution based on the way that they feel today, and then also passing the baton on to them to say, if I can, you can too. And so it was month like 3 or 4 in my business, and I was still teaching, but I had a light back inside of me. I was excited. I was bringing my portion control containers to work with me. People were actually asking me questions about the containers, and I was starting to build relationships with people in my school based on health and wellness. My principal actually asked me, she was like, you should stay after school late and we could do like a workout program. And I remember just like kind of pouring that energy into them. And I never had the intention to leave teaching. I never went into this saying, I want to quit teaching. I went into this saying, I want to focus on myself so I can be a better teacher for my students, so I can grow at a higher level and finish my master's, do things bigger and better. And one thing I've always said from the very beginning is, when you focus on yourself, everything else starts to fall into place. When I started focusing on me, that light started to overflow into other people's cups, my students' cups, the relationships I was building with their parents, my relationship with Tyler, my relationship with his parents. And so I never wanted to quit my job at the very beginning. But what started happening was that with helping people, with helping Sally month 1, and then helping her see the same way I did, helping her see that she had the potential to build this business as well, with helping those people, just adding a little pebble into my pile each day. I remember it was May, and Tyler and I sat down and we're like, okay, we got to get out of this house. Like, we need to build a plan. We need to build a plan of how we're going to, pay an income or build an income or build a savings so that we can buy our starter home, or make enough money so that we can pay rent somewhere. And we had this conversation in May, and we're like, okay, we have a 2-year plan. Mom and Dad, we're going to be out of your house by 2017. And I had this burning desire in my belly to get out of that house so much quicker than 2017. So I really started to dive deep into this business. I saw what I was capable of doing in 1 month. I saw that I was capable of helping 3 people a month. So I said, if I can help 3 people a month, I can help 6 people a month. If I can help 6 people a month, I can help 12 people a month. And I just really started to dive in. I'm a 3 on the Enneagram. So if you give me I will work hard. I'm an achiever. I will work very hard. And so if you guys have ever seen my Beachbody Champions video, I started to work on this I started to just heavy invite people. I started to really grow my Instagram, really grow my brand and start to invite people. And it was that August. So we said in May, we're going to have a 2-year plan to get out of his parents' house. June, July, August came around. We met with a realtor because we had saved up so much money and we were able to actually buy our starter home that August. Beachbody does not guarantee any level of success. It comes obviously with the work that you're willing to put in. But we bought our starter home that year. I was not rolling in the dough. I was not making 6 figures my first year. I'm more of the tortoise than the hare. But it gave me that ability again to start dreaming. I said to you guys, I lost my best attribute was that, and that was that ability to dream, right? When I started this business, it almost became like I got out of my sheltered hut where I wouldn't dream anymore. And I really started to work toward bigger and better things. Like I had the ability to work toward the house that I knew that I wanted to buy, or eventually, wanting to work to be able to say goodbye to my teaching career and bring teaching home and help other women, fall in love with this business. And so that's my favorite part about this business is that literally the sky is the limit. So we bought our house in August of 2015, our starter house in August of 2015. And I went to a Chalene Johnson event in February of 2016. And I remember I was sitting in the audience and she was like, quit your job if you hate it. If you're at the point in your business where you can leave, it might not be comfortable, but if you can leave to pursue something that fuels your fire, do it. I went home from that event. I went to that event not wanting to quit my job. I came home from that event saying, Ty, I'm going full-time coaching. And he was like, what? You can't. I'm like, no, but I am. And I did. I left teaching that June and it wasn't comfortable. I was matching my teaching income, but it wasn't enough for me to match my teaching income on top of coaching. And so I said goodbye to teaching and I came home full time. And this is where my business shifted for the worse. I came home from teaching full time. And I thought in June of 2016, that because I quit my job, everybody was going to gravitate toward me. In the things that I started to do, my habits that I was doing when I was teaching and building a business, they kind of all went out the window when I became a full-time coach, and I had to totally reestablish a new routine. The problem was that I was sleeping in because I could, and I was kind of sort of getting my workouts in. I was kind of sort of showing up and doing the tasks on my list, and I just thought that I was going to build all this success in my business. And from 2016 to the end of 2017, my business went like this. I made the same amount of money for 2.5 full years. And it was July of 2017. My dad actually relapsed. My dad was an addict. And in 2017, he relapsed and he was admitted into rehab. And I decided that I was going to move home for a couple of months. And I remember sitting in my parents' house, my mom's house, and looking at her and saying that I have to just go back to teaching. Like, this fuels my fire, but it's not for me. I'm just not one of the lucky ones. And I filled out a teaching application. And I remember finishing the application and sitting down and being like, Mom, I worked so hard to get out of a career. Now I'm just going to go back into it. I never got a call back from that teaching job. And in July of 2017, when I filled out that application, I decided that the reason I wasn't having success, like the Lindsay Matways and the Bonnie Engels of the business, though I was looking at them like, why aren't I where they are? Why can't I have that income? Why can't I actually enjoy what I'm doing without the stress? The reason I wasn't there was because I wasn't working as hard as they were. I was hitting Success Club by the skin of my teeth every single month because I was just showing up to hit Success Club. I was a diamond coach by the skin of my teeth every week because I was just showing up to be a diamond coach. And so Colleen asked me what the biggest shift for me was from being an okay coach, because I was an okay coach. I've never missed a month of Success Club. I've always held my diamond rank, But the biggest thing for me in 2017, from being this okay coach to a coach just 1 year later, from July of 2017 to July of 2018, we went from a single diamond team myself to then being a 6-star diamond team in a year. And we advanced 36 diamonds in my downline. And I had my first 6-figure year, went from $20,000 that year to $130,000 the next year. In 2018 was my mindset shift. I went from, again, Beachbody does not guarantee any level of success. I went from having this mindset of I have to hit Success Club, I have to be a diamond coach, to actually looking at the heartbeats that went inside of Success Club. What I mean by that is, and I had to really break this down for my coaches too. I had to be like, because if I was only showing up to be on the leaderboard, or I was only showing up to hold that diamond rank, so every Thursday in my back office, I made sure it said it. If I was showing up just for those shiny things, my coaches were just going to show up for those shiny things too, right? And so I had to make that shift, and I had to make it clear. I had to pass that on to them. So when I was helping my coaches hit Success Club, instead of saying you have to hit Success Club this month, it was more so, okay, here's Success Club, right? We have this thing that we can't really control, but we know that it's a goal. We know that it's this benchmark that we want to hit every single month, right? But let's reel that back for a second. In order to hit this benchmark every single month, what has to happen? What does it take? And what can we control to get there? And so it made me sit back and say, all right, Success Club is really awesome. And I know I'm going to do it every single month, but I'm not just going to do it to do it. Success Club measures the amount of lives that I'm changing. Human beings who, like me, have the ability to change their entire life with this business or this opportunity or these programs in our platform. So I had to help each person that I was, who was giving me a time of day in their inbox or on social media. And so what can I do to get these people to say yes? Success Club is helping people say yes to the opportunity, right? Or to a challenge pack. Well, in order to get people to say yes to a challenge pack, I have to be showing up in how I can control showing up and helping them see why they should say yes. So I need to be making sure that I'm in love with my program, that I am all in on my nutrition plan, that I am showing up not because I have to, but because I want to, and because I want to pass this baton onto them. And so that was the biggest shift for me, was not just believing that I could hit Success Club, but believing that I could really help change other women's lives. And so in 2017, I drew that line in the sand. Yeah, having a huge impact. I drew that line in the sand. And it became talking to more people, but doing it with this foundation of massive, massive fire and passion. I knew I was never going to go back to teaching. This just had to solidify that. I had to go talk to more people. This probably isn't what you guys want to hear, but action is the biggest piece of this business. You know that you have a huge platform. We're so lucky to have Beachbody as the platform. We have to do nothing. Literally, we have Beachbody here with the incredible platforms, with incredible, the customer service, with our nutrition plans, with Shakeology that has had extensive research, and we know it all rocks, right? We know it rocks because we use it and it's changed our lives. And then we have the consumer over here, of people that we want to impact, these people that we want and know that if they use this, their life's going to be changed. But we're the vehicle in the middle. Here's the consumer. Here's our incredible platform. We're the vehicle in the middle that we have to bring them from point A to point B. And that was the missing link for me. I thought it was just going to be like Consumer Success Club, Consumer Success Club. It was me taking them along the ride with me, making sure that I'm sharing with them why I show up. I had a girl today message me. She was like, I really want to learn more about the coaching opportunity, but I'm a personal trainer. What I've found though is I love the Beachbody programs because after a long day of personal training, I don't want to stay in that gym. I want to come home and do my workout. I'm like, that is exactly why personal trainers have so much success. Not because you have to choose one or the other, but because you now have the ability to reach more people on a broader scope. But that piece, the way she feels, her lifestyle that she's talking about is going to relate to so many other women. If she talks about that, getting home from a long day and being able to just push play for 30 minutes, mindless, instead of having to make up her own moves. Those pieces of our story That's the vehicle here, in getting them from being a consumer who's watching you to actually doing the programs and the product, using the programs and the products. And so for me, that was the biggest thing, was understanding that I had to be that missing link, be that person for them, and not just showing up to check a box, but showing up and being so passionate. So when I started doing that, when my coaches saw a major shift in me, they started showing up, right? They started saying, well, wow, Ashley's actually going above and beyond. Ashley's showing up on team calls and she's delivering incredible trainings. Because a funny thing starts to happen when you're so obsessed with focusing on yourself. A funny thing starts to happen when you're so like fired up about changing your own life. That starts to pour over into every other area. When I'm so in love with a fitness journey or my nutrition plan, that pours over into the way that I train my coaches. That pours over into the way that I love Tyler, the way that I treat my mom, the relationship that I have with my sister. And so because I was becoming so passionate and in love with helping myself and being that middleman to help other women see that this is for them, my team started to feel that from me. And so that was, to answer the second question that Colleen had, that was that second piece, going from an okay coach to a coach who wasn't just hitting Success Club 5, but I started, I built a 6-figure income that year. And then going from being that coach to then being a top coach in the company and tripling my income, it was really about getting my team to that level. It was about getting my team to be that vehicle and have that same passion, showing up exactly how I wanted my team to show up. I was getting on team calls and I was, still getting on team calls and I was electric and I had this light and I'm creating content on my social media below surface level because they're going to do what I do. They're going to have that same passion, being so in love with my health and fitness journey, but also being so much more than just a health and fitness coach, bringing people into my circle because of my fashion, because of my dogs, because of my wedding planning. And then in my back pocket, having Beachbody and showing people how it's changed my life. For instance, if I bring people in based on my fashion, and I love the way that my clothes fit and I'm feeling incredible, and they love fashion too, when I talk about a program and how incredible I feel in my clothes, they can relate to that because they want to feel incredible in their clothes too, right? And that's a whole video for another day. But actually being intentional with growing my social media. Everything I do, everything I started doing, my coaches started doing. So when I started becoming very intentional with content and growing my social media, my coaches started doing that same thing. And that's where my team really started to grow. That's how we went from a 10-star diamond team to a 15-star diamond team last year, because my coaches' mindset started to shift. And so they started having more fun with their social media and more fun with their journeys. But yeah, I guess I don't really have anything more to share about my story. We can open it up to a Q&A if you want, Colleen.
Oh, can we just hang out with you every day? Oh, you're so good at delivering content. And if I can be honest for a second, you and Kate I've been a coach almost 6.5 years. This summer will be 7 years. It's like a long freaking time. And I poured so much time and so much energy for, before I had Nixon, we'll say 5 years, into every single Wednesday presentations and calls. And I got burnt out after a while. And then I was watching you guys as you guys were rising, pour into your teams. And so for this year, you guys have re-inspired me in a big way to deliver content to the team that brings energy and passion. So I had to say thank you for that, because as I told you, Ashley, we're talking a lot about stories that stick, and we're talking about being intentional with our content, because our team has this vibe of like being free birds, and I don't want to schedule, and I don't want this, and that totally comes from me down, and then I got to the point where I was like, all right, I want to level up, and I want to double my business in 2020. And so I knew that we had to do something different. So love that you're talking about that intentional content. And as far as intentional content goes, something I wanted to talk about, and if you guys do have questions as I blab, please write them in the what is it called, chat for Ashley, and we will get to them. Ashley's really good at speaking directly to her customer when she says things like, you can find a simple nutrition plan. Like if you go to Ashley's social media, I don't know every single post you've ever made, but every single time she posts, I'm like, she's doing that thing that Angie Lee talks about, where in the opening, she's saying the you or the your. She's speaking right into their souls, and it's like, hey, you need to read this because you need this information that I'm about to share. She transfers that belief and excitement and passion that she has into the viewer's content. And so I think for a while, and I'm so guilty of this, we wanted to tell our story, and then it turned into the me, like, look at my story, look what I did. And now all we have to do is tweak that little bit of content to be intentional to make it about them. So Ashley's really great at that. If you guys have the personality type that gets inspired by watching other people, for me, that works. I know for some people, they see it as a competition, or why can't I do that? I really want to challenge you guys to see these successful coaches and, you know, anyone on social media that inspires you in some way to be, they're the role model, right, of what's possible. And that's really the mindset we have to have when it comes to that social media content. But last night we had the opportunity to be on Christina Delgado's team call, and Trent Shelton spoke. You guys all know Trent. I hope you know Trent. And I have so many notes, and I want to talk about two things because Ashley brought them up today in a different way. And hopefully there's lots of light bulbs going off for you guys. But she talked about, it's not just about the Goal of Success Club, right? Because sometimes based on our personality types and our love languages, we get wrapped up in that shiny recognition and whatnot. And it's important to, you know, set a goal and to strive for that. But what Trent talked about last night is don't just set goals. Goals are something that you reach and then you go, okay, I hit Success Club. Standards are what you live by. And so you always want to drive towards what? Helping people find that simple nutrition plan that can be sustainable. I'm telling Ashley's story here. Obviously, you plug in your story. But that's why I live so strongly on social media with my content and my mission and all the beliefs that I have is, what am I helping people do here? You know, because when I live by that standard of how I want to help people and I continuously share that with energy and passion, then the goal is the byproduct of, you know, showing up on social media and sharing that. And then this is what I love that he talked about, that when it comes to the energy and the passion is, how is your life contagious? Because sometimes I think the only thing that's missing for coaches is, hey, if I was to come to your house right now and hang out with you, would you light me up? Would you be breathing life into me? Would you make me want to say, like I just said to Ashley, I want to hang out with you every single day because you're bringing that energy? And guys, it has nothing to do with being introverted, extroverted, shy, confident. All of that. Confidence is a piece of it, I think, over time. But it's really more about, how do you make people feel? Have you guys ever heard of what do people say? Like, you're a super host. The hostess with the mostest. When you have people over for Christmas, and if someone comes in your door, you're like, hey, how's it going? You know, the French dip's over there. People would be like, I don't really want to come back here for Christmas next year. But if you welcome people in with that welcoming energy, it's so contagious, they want to hang out with you more. So Trent asked me last night, would someone want to catch what you have? And that's how you create that influence. That's how you create that following. And that's how you can share that message with people. So, and the only way to believe in something like what we do, maybe some of you are still working on your belief to get to that point of where Ashley, you know, built up to that first level of success. The only way to believe in something is to live it every single day. And I'm on you guys consistently about full immersion. And I learned that from Tony Robbins. He's like, you cannot dip your toe in the pool and figure out if it's hot, cool, or warm. You have to cannonball style right into that freaking pool. And then you can decide if you want to stay in the pool or get out. But until it's full immersion, you're not going to know. You're not going to build up that belief. So that's my little side rant that I had to go on, because Trent and you both fired me up. I don't know how many of you guys were on the call with Trent last night, but Christina Delgado thankfully picked my question. She only picked one question and she picked mine. And I said, so how do you build your confidence every day? And he said, I give myself permission to fail. And I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of us have to be willing to do, is to put the content out there that sucks at first. And I don't have time to today, but I actually queued up some of my first videos of when I first started coaching. And I was actually blown away by the hundreds of videos I've made in 6.5 years. And it took, like, you guys are going to laugh and I'm going to cringe and it's going to kill me to show them to you guys, but I have them on my computer because I did them right here at this computer. They were so bad, but I led with passion and excitement, and I gave myself permission to kind of suck if I needed to, because the only thing that's going to help me over time is that repetition. I gave myself permission to grow, just like Trent talked about, and fall in love with progression. I think we get so wrapped up in worrying about what if we can't do it. What, a lot of people posted in our team page when I asked, what do you guys need help with your mindset? You guys mentioned that you overthink. And a lot of that is having the right mindset going into the things that you're fearful about. Give yourself permission to fail, give yourself permission to grow, and you'll feel a little bit more comfortable. And again, I have so much content to share with you guys in the coming weeks, but that Mel Robbins course, you guys can get it for $16. I'm learning the science of why our brain blocks us to do the scary things and to face our fears. And I'm literally geeking out on it right now. So if you guys feel like, okay, well, I can't just go do it, I really want to give you guys the tools to help you guys do that. So was there any questions as I was blabbing? Okay, Ashley, I have a question for you. And if I missed a question, let me know. Ashley, when you are working with a newer coach, someone that you sign up, because obviously you do bring on a decent amount of coaches, is there anything that you suggest to them to help them kind of grow their network? Because I'll be honest and tell you that when I joined 6 years ago or 6.5 years ago, how I grew my network just looks very different than now. And I'm like a total business nerd and business geek when it comes to this kind of like, hey, I want to grow my business. How do you help a newer coach focus on getting their message out there? Is it just like, hey, show up, consistency, keep going? I'll let you answer it.
I focus a lot on being so much more than a coach and growing their network based on the other things. Because nowadays people show up on social media not to, to buy things and sure to be inspired, but people love entertainment, right? People are going on social media for a lot of entertainment. And so I really just, the very beginning of my coach training is helping my new coaches really understand who they are, who they're going to attract, and being that first. And I think that I talk about that most because that's how I've grown success in my business, is like talking about the other things that make me, like my dogs and wedding planning and fashion and nutrition, like those things. And then having Beachbody be my thumb, right? Talking about the other 4 things and having health and wellness be my thumb. And so I really at the beginning just helped my girls understand that they shouldn't smell like a Beachbody coach, but people are going to follow them for really finding a voice in other areas, as well as just sharing their story with Beachbody. That's my biggest piece of it, because I find that the coaches who come in this and they just throw up, or they build like all of this frustration and the fact that nobody's signing up with them because all they're doing is talking about Beachbody, they're actually finding more joy in the business because they're sharing more. They're able to create a broader scope of things. And so it's easier to post and easier to share who they are. That's my biggest thing. And then honestly, what Moira talked about on the National Wake Up Call last week is just getting them in pods and having them build relationships with one another and seeing how other people post is really nice. I do attract a lot of teachers and nurses, and so they're busy, they're crazy, but they're fitting in their workouts and they're around people all day long so they can share that. And so just helping them build a voice around why they're showing up to their workouts in the midst of their crazy lifestyle so that other people can relate.
I love that. Super important to like remember that we're more than, just the Beachbody coach. Okay. No one else has questions. I'm obsessed with asking questions, right? Okay, I'll just keep asking you questions, Ashley. So let's talk about Diamond. How do you approach, new coach? They're on fire, they're posting, they're doing all the things, and they're like, all right, I know that like my first technical stop to seeing success is I do need to work towards signing up 12 people and go towards the rank of Diamond. Maybe let's hear your spiel on Diamond.
So I might not be the best person to ask for this. I'm like not super goal oriented with my coaches. I'm not like, you have to hit Emerald or you have to hit Diamond. I ran my business like that for a long time. Like I built a lot of success starters in 2018, and a lot of them aren't here anymore because it was just about success starters. And so last year I just started doing more trainings about what's going to get them there, right? Like, how am I going to hit diamond? Well, you have to recruit coaches. And so every other week I just do a coach basics call. And then every other week that I'm not doing that, I do like a ranking call in my team page. I don't know if you're in my team page, but like something like that. And so I'm always just talking about the mindset around getting to diamond, but the action that goes into getting there. We all know that discount coaches are incredible and we need them to get to, from point A to point B, but really talking about getting coaches who want to work this business with you is going to be by painting the picture. And Holly Hillier is incredible. She did a team call for me a couple months ago. And okay, I'll add you. She did a call for me a couple months ago. And she just talks about like, she's gotten to where she is she talks about the coaching opportunity all of the time because she truly believes that everybody needs this in their life. And so I just let them know, like, this is changing your life. Like, you can't hold that back from people. And once they get over that hump and they actually start talking about it in a way that people can relate, like, I can't come out and say, I made X amount of dollars this year, because it's unrelatable. But if I bring it back and talk about the organic groceries or that vet bill, my dog stayed in the vet for 5 nights last week and I was able to pay for that when most people would have had to put their dog down. Like, just being able to like bring it down to their level in a way that they can relate or see that they can work toward, and helping my coaches do that same thing. And it comes from just like you said, failing. Like, my Instagram and Facebook was just like hideous 5 years ago. And I really had to fail and I had to have those horrendous posts. And I have videos just like you. I have these videos where I like was stuttering and I was in a dark room, but I thought they were awesome because I was doing them and they made us who we are today. But I also really just talk to my girls about like sticking with it. Like, my superstar team, all of the girls who got us a superstar last year, they are my girls for life, and they just aren't going anywhere because they are in love with the business, not just for gold, not just for diamond, but because diamond came organically for them. And I should probably preface this by saying we were aiming for superstar all year long. So it wasn't an organic thing. It was definitely something we worked for very hard. But those girls that got us there, it was a matter of them just building coaches and them like helping people, but not for diamond, but for themselves to build beyond.
Okay, cool. I'm always interested in hearing people's, so I was, do you know who Keith Callahan is, Ashley? Yeah. So he's like my, upline way up there. And it's so interesting to hear like the different perspectives, especially because he's been in the business, I think almost 10 years now. And so like we're learning from the newer-ish coaches. I know you're not new, but it's just interesting to hear the different angles. So a newer coach has a question about eating well. Like, I'm going to rephrase her question because if you are asking the question is if you follow the plan, the answer is yes, follow the plan. Right? It's there for a reason. So maybe talk about how you help your coaches, have the mindset that they have to show up and follow the plan, and like, I guess tell her why it works.
I want to see my great grandbabies grow up. Like, and if you live with that mindset every single day, you're not just going to follow, like I follow the portion fix to a T every single day, not because I have to, but because I know that it's making me so incredibly healthy. I love going to the doctor and like having them test my blood pressure and stuff. And like, because I just feel healthy because it's good. Like, this compounds over time. And for my team, like, I'm not a weight girl. Like, I will never come on social media and say that I lost 10 pounds or, I'm skinny and I feel good. No way. Like, never. That's not the goal. And so my girls, like, that's not their goal. When I'm working with new coaches and when I'm working with new clients, it's always about health. It's always about what, like, I want to be on this earth until I'm 120 years old, or, for longevity. Same with this business. We're not here for Success Club. We're not here for diamond. We're here for the 6-7 figure income, the freedom down the road. So Rachel, for your question, the programs are designed to be followed to a T. Follow them to a T. And I've been following Portion Fix for 5 years. It's just a way of life for me. It's not about, I have to follow my program because I have to follow my program. It's Ultimate Portion Fix is just how I eat. It's my diet. Like I don't have a diet. It's my diet. Like it just measures my food. It's like just an accessory in my kitchen and how I measure my food. I meal prep with it. I meal plan with it. I do, I measure my dinners with it. You should follow it because it's been, it's driven by science and it works and you've seen it work. So 100% follow it. And if you do, your girls will too.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say you have to develop the skill of learning to follow the program to a T. So if you never push yourself to follow the plan and develop that skill and that discipline, sorry, I just said that all 10 times, but you get what I'm trying to say. You'll never be able to help a client and coach do the same. Because when I literally just had one of my best clients message me and say, I'm stuck at losing 25 pounds. I said, what did you have for dinner last night? Did you follow the 2B plan? Oh, I haven't followed that for months. There's your answer. And so I have to prove to people that this plan works. So do that. But then what happens when life happens? Okay. You go out to dinner, you eat the burger and the chocolate chip and the ice cream after, and then you come home and have a bowl of cereal. I mean, whatever. That's not really my life, but that's what I hear sometimes from people. The key to this business is using the tools and the plan to get back on track. Because you're going to go on the vacation, you're going to do the thing. This is how we make it sustainable because you had the brownie last night, whatever. Teach people to have the mindset of, rather than it being a downward spiral of having brownies 5 days the rest of the week, you get back on track the next day. So Janelle was talking about
that's exactly what I say. Like, if you crave that Chick-fil-A breakfast, have it. But the best part about our program is we always know the routine is waiting for us. Like it's always there that next morning or for lunch. It's waiting for us to dive into. Yeah.
And I mean, with being a coach 6.5 years, having a baby, doing all the crazy weight fluctuations and sizes and all the things in my life have happened, guys. It has been the consistency of me having that plan to get back on, and you have to share that. I'm not asking you to be perfect and say, I follow this plan to a T and I don't have treats, because actually all of our nutrition plans have mindset work in them and treats built in. So if you haven't invested in one of the nutrition programs and you guys feel stuck about how to serve people in a big way, that's why I can't talk. Beachbody developed the nutrition courses. I don't even like to call them plans. I call them courses because it teaches people the lifestyle. Okay, last question, and then we're going to let you go. Sorry, this is the longest call ever. How do you know when you're sharing too much Beachbody versus life or vice versa?
I have a routine I go in. So I'm a big planner. Every Sunday I'll sit down and I'll usually write out what I'm going to post about. You don't have to do that, guys. You don't have to plan out your posts. I find that if you are busy, it is nice to plan them out ahead of time, but I always know what IGTV I'm posting that week. And I have it planned out for the next Sundays coming up and make IGTV every week. I always know when I'm going to talk about my boot camps, when I'm going to talk about coaching, and then everything else is just me, my life. If coaching falls into there and I'm excited about something coaching, I'm going to talk about it because it's a huge part of my life. But the strategic call to actions are always kind of prepped and planned into my day or into my week. I'm going to guess and say that you're probably not talking about Beachbody too much. You might think you are because you probably follow other coaches. But if they're coming to your Instagram and they're seeing you just the only thing they're seeing is you talking about a boot camp or you talk whatever you're talking about, if it's the only thing they're hearing from you, yes, it's too much. When you think about what makes you you, what does your best friend know you for? What does your mom know you for? Your followers should know you for those things too. They should really be getting to know you, but also be getting to know the fact that Beachbody plays a huge role in helping you in all other areas of your life. And not talking about them in salesy ways, guys. Why do you host boot camps? Talk about them authentically because they changed your freaking life. A 21-day fix program changed my life. So that's why I host them. That's why I get so excited about hosting them. Why do I host coach webinars? Because this coaching opportunity has given me the world that I live today, the life that I live today. It's given my children a college fund, right? It's my non-existent children, because I'm not going to hold that back from people. So just sharing authentically, people will always feel that from you. But I think you'll know if you're sharing too much or too little.
I'll give you guys my best tip and then we'll wrap it up for answering that question, because it's hard for me to relate sometimes to when the coach says, well, I just want to unfollow everyone and not see all these successful people because it's hard for me. That's hard for me because I want you to think about the most influential, why can't I talk today? Influential person in your life, whether they were a coach, basketball coach, your mom, your dad. You watched them model what kind of behavior you want to have in your life, right? So for me, it was one of my bosses at Verizon back in the day. Because I watched him, because I hung out with him, and because for, I think it was like 6.5 years actually, which is funny, I've been a coach 6.5 years. 6.5 years I was with Verizon, I watched him show up every single day and I learned from him. And so for me, I remember Amy Silverman was the biggest silent mentor for me. And I watched how she shared her lifestyle, her passions, her values, her voice, her results, Beachbody. And I was like, oh, that's how it should be done. But here's where it gets tricky, right? Like, I think in the beginning, this is what John C. Maxwell says, you have to model after someone, but then you start to gain your own voice. So there's different personality types that this does and doesn't work for, but for me, it worked because I was like, oh, okay, like I feel like I suck at social media because I did in the beginning. Amy Silverman kind of gave me like, oh, that's kind of what I should be shooting for. And it challenged me to show up in an energetic, passionate way, to challenge my writing style. And so sometimes this is what I would do. I would take Amy's post and screenshot it, and then I would write my post and put it side by side, and I'd be like, okay, there's clearly a difference here, right? But I wasn't beating myself up. I wasn't doing the comparison game in terms of like, oh, Colleen, you suck. I was like, I want to be better. I'm open to coaching. I want to rise. Show me how to do it. And so I would look at the other social media posts and I would kind of rise up, and you got to fail forward with it for sure. And I feel like if you're working one-on-one with your coach and if you're immersed in this team, we'll let you know if you're posting too much Beachbody. We'll give you a little constructive criticism. We'll help you out. Don't be afraid to ask for some. But I really feel like you have to stick around to learn what works and what doesn't. It's not just going to happen in a year. It's crazy to see how much. I wish I could go to the bottom of my Instagram. Like there's no easy way to just go to the bottom and look back at how different it is. But find that silent mentor that hopefully your mindset is, okay, I want to level up. Be my online coach. Even though Amy Silverman has never been my coach, she taught me so much. I was going to say something else. I forget. What was I talking about? I don't know. Maybe it will come back to me, but it was a good point. All right, Ashley, thank you so much. Please add me to your team page. I learned so, like I said, I'm like a sponge and I'm always just soaking things up. And I saw Michelle was on here too, and she actually was on my list of coaches to speak on our coffee chat. So I'm sure that we'll get to hear from Michelle and all her awesomeness too. So thank you so much for your time. If I can return the favor in any way, please let me know. What'd you say?
I just said hi to Michelle. That was funny.
Oh. All right. Well, happy Tuesday, everyone. I hope you have a great day. Thanks, Ash.